Just when you thought the most disturbing thing you can see is walking in on your own parents getting it on. Well, we got a movie for you. Because we're talking movies. We're talking X. Starring Mia Goth, Jenna Ortega, and Brittany Snow. Written and directed by Ty West. Hell, it ain't even loaded. Pointing it and waving it around is usually just enough to scare them straight.
We're gonna be rich. Feel how hard my cock is. Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of How'd You Like That Movie? Tonight we're going to be talking about the 2022 film from A24, X, as Scott said, directed by Ty West. Before we get into that, I have a bit of a mea culpa. We were supposed to have an amazing guest on tonight. Her name's Kate Sinclair, and she is a female porn director from Winnipeg. And because I am awful, obviously, at fucking scheduling, she thought she was going to be on the show tomorrow, and we're recording today. So we just want to give out a shout out to Kate Sinclair. There's going to be a bunch of stuff in our show notes. She has a porn film festival that's going to be going on tour. It's called Nuit Ranch. The Western tour is May 25th through June 5th. And then there will be an Eastern tour where they'll be hitting Ontario in September. We'll keep you well updated for that. And look in the show notes for more information on Kate Sinclair and all her fantastic pornographic work. Anyway, Scott, take us away, buddy.
Okay. With this, I'm just going to go with my namesake grass seed. I'm going thick and I'm going quick. Because
what?
Right?
What does that even mean?
Well, haven't you seen like Scott's grass seed? On the bag, it says it's thick and quick.
Really? Oh, okay. I didn't know that. You should definitely like Photoshop something like your face onto the bag or something like that.
No, because I'm just gonna say, if you haven't watched this movie, just go. That's it. That's our rant for the day. Please like and subscribe. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating. We're just done.
Scott's like, boom, fucking mic drop.
Boom, done.
Go.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I want to discuss it, but like, I want to discuss it like spoilers stuff, but you don't like doing spoilers. I will say this. We did, like, if you saw our Instagram post, me and you did watch this movie together. So I have seen a lot of movies with you, like different genres, but this was the very first horror movie I've ever seen with you. And I can say, when it comes to horror, you're like my kids. You're a fucking talker because you try to talk to deflate from when the tension is getting built and the scares are about to happen. So you don't jump. It's amazing to watch.
You know what? You're 100% right. And this movie is fucking violent. And it's violent in a really intimate way. Again, and I'm gonna skate around the actual spoilers, but like often, like someone will be like bloodily murdered, and it'll look very, it'll be bloody, or like a head gets chopped off or something. But it feels kind of like disassociated, not like kind of Hollywood-esque. There are scenes in this movie where people are being like butchered, and in any other movie, it would be like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and they'll hold it for like a minute. Like, it felt like a minute. Like, and I think, Scott, you know exactly what scene I'm talking about with some throaty, stabby. And it was just like, and the fucking camera just sits there. And I was like, oh man, like, this is awful to watch. Like, this is so violent.
Yeah, like, in terms of that, like, I think what Ty West did very well was he made you think this is going to be a film with that opening scene. And I think this obviously ain't spoilers, but I love that opening scene where it's coming. It's, the slow close up in from inside the barn into the actual crime scene, because when you see it, you just see the car coming up. You don't see any of the police cars until the sheriff gets there, and then while it starts moving slowly and coming in, then the camera gets wider and wider, and you start seeing it, all the other police vehicles that are there, and you can see that this is already the crime scene. And it gave such like a homage to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that you're literally waiting for the fluorescent light sound of the camera cut to like like to just like start it, like you're waiting for it, right?
Yes.
And the thing he did really well is, in the first minute while you're in that scene, you're literally watching, like you're in the you're the sheriff, so you're literally watching the crime scene. You don't see, all you see are the whatchamacallit, those blankets over the dead bodies, but you don't know whose is who. But you already know, okay, something's happening here, something happening here. Then they go to the basement, and then you see the shock face, and then it's like boom, you go 24 hours earlier, right? And then you're just fucking along for the ride to try. And he does really well at psyching you out, thinking like, oh shit, something's gonna happen here, because you automatically revert back.
You've been conditioned to expect it, because it's like they showed you the carnage, and you're like, and then, but sometimes, like, and again, it's hard not to do the spoilers, but like you think something's gonna happen because he's shown you this thing over here, and then it doesn't, and then you're like, oh, and then bang, something happens, and you're like, wow.
yeah, and that was you. Like you thought it was gonna happen, you're like, and then like it crescendos down, like it goes down, and then all of a sudden it just happens, and you're like, oh my fuck, and I'm just like fucking sitting eating my popcorn laughing at you.
So actually, I'm gonna lead into, like, just because of what this actually really encapsulates how I feel about this. So Tim Cogshell from Film Week, NPR Los Angeles. I love this quote, simple and to the point. This is a really great, it's a throwback to those grindhouse films of the 1970s. Like it's exploitation, it's porn, it's slasher, it's arty, it's fucking cool. Like this film is just a cool film. And like the like, not the protagonist, but like the murderers, but primary murderer is creepy as fuck. But both those characters are being played by Mia Goth, which is so crazy. She's playing like an old person and a young person. She's in the same scenes with herself. Like she had something like 10 hours of makeup to get to age her or whatever, because Mia Goth is like super young looking, right? So it was just, she's like 29, but she also looks young. Like she's not an older looking actor. And so then they make her look like fucking 100. Just fantastic. Like the prosthetic work was amazing. Go ahead. Jump in here, man.
No, I just think it was funny that you're like you can tell right now she'll never be a guest on here, when you're like, she's not young, but she doesn't look old. So she's already like, fuck you, old man. Like I can see the white in your beard.
Fuck that guy right in his face. Were you able to find the budget for this? I wasn't, because it premiered at South by Southwest, right? So it's super indie. Like A24 picked it up after, so I wasn't able to find any like budget numbers for this sucker.
No, I can see quickly if I can find it, but what
it made 13 million in the box office, and I'm sure it's going to be making a ton of money on the streaming services, on the video on demand.
Yeah, I will say that not only that, but I do think that, and this, is not to toot your own horn, because you do toot it very well, but like A24, like their catalog of films they have is really amazing to see. Yeah, like I don't like, it's all it's really the quality over quantity, right? Like even their new one that's out in theaters right now that look with Michelle Yeoh looks amazing. That Everywhere, Every Time.
Yeah, people are saying that that movie is like fucking off the hook.
Yeah. And then they did I'm pretty sure they did it, but Green Knight, I think they did as well, which I still haven't watched, but I want to see, with Dev Patel.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, it's a bit fucking sleepy time. Like it took me a bit to like actually get through it. It's like I said, it's interesting. And no, I don't think A24 did that.
Well, you were wrong. It is A24. They produced it and distributed it.
Oh, okay. Fuck. Oops. I didn't, for some reason, I didn't think it was A24 because it's not like, it didn't feel indie enough. You know what I mean?
But I think that's the thing that they've done well, right? Like I think it's similar to Blumhouse, right?
Yeah.
Where, it's micro budget films, but they don't feel micro budget, right? Like they feel like, all the money is going into it. But I think that, as a producer, I know for Ava Mack, sometimes you can have no money, but make it look like all the monies.
You can do that. Also, didn't so listen to this. This is how, so we talked about a lot of these films on our show. So first off, Tragedy of Macbeth, The Humans, Come On. There's The Green Knight, Zola, Minari, like they did On the Rocks, which is awful. But like they're like every one of their films like wins awards or goes to the Oscars, which I mean is like big, huge nominations.
So what you're saying is,
have you seen Red Rocket yet?
No.
Maybe we should do Red Rocket and do one more that has to do with pornography, because we did Boogie Nights. If you haven't checked out our Boogie Nights episode, check it out. We both really liked it. We're talking about porn and we're talking about horror and this, and Red Rocket is about like after porn ends, what do you do with that? What does Dirk Diggler do with that big cock when the curtain comes down for the last time?
There's a series of documentaries called After Porn End, right? Like,
yeah, that's why I use that. That's literally why.
But you should, to go back to your other thing, like, should we change the name of our podcast to How You Like That A24 Movie?
Hey, make sure you A24. We get a shout out on your shows as well, because we're obviously pumping you up.
Your shows. Just put the How Do You Like That Movie swag on all your films.
That's right. I love this film because I mean it's the 70s. They purposely make it look like the 70s. They go back and forth between that kind of like, it's not like 1:1 aspect ratio, but like that almost like 8mm film stock when they're shooting the porn and you're watching the porn. And there's lots of like porn, like they're making a porn. So there you see like sex and you see boobies and they are shooting it. And so you get to like watch what the camera is seeing. And then they change aspect ratios when they go back to kind of like the in the now world. But it's all on these homages to like such a fantastic time in like film, because both horror and adult filmmaking they both get a bad rap, but they also become kind of like super cool in the 70s. You know what I mean? With stuff like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Now, I was going to say this is the time I wish we did have the guests, especially in this industry, because, watching this film, right, it's a lot of, when they're filming the porno, it's all like technically one scene, right? And I really wanted to know, like, how many takes does it really take to make one scene of porn?
Oh, that's a good question. And I mean, we could have then also asked about Boogie Nights as well, right? Because we can kind of go back and forth between those two. Because you see it in Boogie Nights, right? Like you see the boredom, like it's a regular film set. The guy on this boom pole hanging out, oh, we got to go again. Oh, we got to move the light. Oh, you know, whatever. Like,
no,
how
yeah,
much of
but
that
in Boogie Nights, it's because he, you know, Dirk went so long that he used up all the tape, and they had to change the, like, it was the joke, right? It wasn't the joke, but you know, it was more to the how
like how his
amazing Dirk.
prowess.
Yeah, yeah. But in reality, you know, I just wanted to know, like, how many, like, is there an ugly take in porn where they're just like, you know what, we can't use this. We need the Langford editing. We need to cut this out a little bit.
So yeah, and so for those that don't know, so first off, like Scott said, I don't need to wax poetically about this fucking movie. Go watch it. Go watch it. If you can still find it in a repertory theater, like Princess Cinema or the Apollo or something like that here in KW or wherever in your town, go watch it on a big screen. It's super fun. It feels kind of dirty to do it. And if you're going to watch it at home, like, definitely watch it. They already have a prequel. It's already shot. A24 is going to get that sucker released. I think it comes out in what, 2023 or late 2022?
Pearl, I think so. Hold on. Yeah, because I thought they filmed it technically because of how that's the one thing that I'm upset with, is that the
Pearl is TBD. It's to be determined at this time, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, the one thing I am upset with is apparently there was a tag for this movie that was technically the teaser for this Pearl movie, because of COVID, they had the whole set crew of Avatar just waiting. So they filmed this small little movie just to, you know, get some money and stuff. And then, you know, they did it quick that he literally wrote another movie while editing this one. And then they filmed that because they already had it. So they filmed it. It's all back to back. So my guess is, yeah, it's probably going to edit. And then, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out around Halloween this year or early next.
Yeah, man, all shot on location in New Zealand. Yeah, man, I don't know what else to really say, because if we dig too much into this, we're going to start giving away plot. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think everybody should see this film, whether how does it actually, you're more of a horror guy. How does this rate on your level of like horror? Does it have a rewatchability?
Oh yeah, I will definitely rewatch this, because
I think rewatch it.
Yeah. I did. But I'll say, like, they have as well, like, especially if you watch the new Scream, right? Jenna Ortega was in that as well, and she's slowly becoming this generation's new Scream queen. Like, she was in the Babysitter series in Netflix. She was in Scream, and I think there was another horror.
Yeah, you're talking about wasn't she in Scream Queens, or was she in just the Scream film?
No, the new Scream film that was like,
you know,
the sequel. And then she was in the Babysitter sequel.
Well, she started with the Insidious. Like, if you go back, like, that's kind of like her early work. You know what I mean?
Was it Insidious?
She was in Insidious Chapter 2.
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah. So yeah, she is becoming a bit of a scream queen, except she doesn't do a lot of screaming in X. She does more moaning.
No. She was the one that screamed, because she's the one that was in the basement.
That's right. You are correct, my friend.
So yeah, she's the one that first let out the first scream, right? But I think as well, what they did well, especially if you know, for all the she was in the Foo Fighters horror film they made, Studio 666. But yeah, if you go into this film with the Scream rules going in, or the normal horror movie rules in, you're going to be pleasantly surprised, because I do think I will say this in terms of the characterization, especially with horror, especially 70s horror and 70s porn, the women were the ones that were exploited the most, and this movie does turn everything on its head. And I will give a shout out to Kid Cudi, because I think he did an amazing job in this film.
He did a really great job. And when I first was like looking up who the cast was, I was like, oh shit, like Kid Cudi's in this? Like I'm talking before we saw the movie, and I'm like, oh, how bad is that gonna be, right? But yeah, he did a great job.
And you know, he has something to give Dirk Diggler a run for his money too. And that is our wrap for the day. Please like and subscribe to this podcast. Tell your friends. If you want to get a hold of us, reach us at the www.howdyoulikethatmovie.com.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about? Like, I don't know how else to just be like, just watch this movie.
I think that's it. I think you should just end it like that. Just go watch this movie.
Just go watch this movie.
And if you don't like it, fuck you.